Okay, no poetic start to this video because this anime is just amazing and I need to tell you about why it is right away. I can already see that it's flying beneath too many radars this winter season, and that's a crying shame. Only minor spoilers for the completely uninitiated, so worry not about any tidbits that are too unwelcome regarding the plot. It's not plot heavy to begin with since it's very much a slice of life, but alas, you have been warned. So imagine a stoic forest golem version of Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure being the stand-in parent for the carefree and innocent Dotaru of the decade who we get in Somali, played by Daisuke Ono and Inori Minase respectively. A great pair of voice actors who I've really come to love over the years. Now imagine that this same adorable Dotaru who passes for a minotaur despite being a human being is on a journey to find her real parents courtesy of her golem dad. Who she really does see as her dad, by the way. So basically, if they actually find her parents, well, let's just say that's set up to be one of the most heartbreaking things ever. That is, in essence, the context we are given in Somali and the Forest Spirit, or Somali to Mori no Kamisama. The dynamic these two produce is seriously so uplifting. It makes me happy to watch them do anything together, it doesn't really matter what it is. Well, typically it's just Somali doing things while Golem Dad is making sure she doesn't get into any serious trouble. He plays the role of protector as much as he does the role of parent, and for good reason. The human race is nearly extinct in this world. They are hated more than you or I hate cockroaches by the otherwise pleasant variety of species that inhabit the world where the story takes place. Hated more than demons, even. Not that the demons in this anime deserve to be hated, they're actually rather nice. I'd totally have tea with these guys. But yeah, humans are really hated and casually tortured for fun in this world. So the setting is definitely darker than the joyful, wholesome atmosphere lets on. One slip up and the charade comes down. Which is why it's so interesting to see Somali play around so liberally. She knows the danger, Dad knows the danger. He's obviously done a great job of getting her to understand the state of affairs well enough that she can still enjoy being a kid, but sometimes her curious nature still leads her astray. That kind of attentive parenting is a genuinely relatable thing to observe as a parent myself, just kicked up to the extreme in this case. I know from experience just how careful you have to be at times. Somali, the character, is innocent. Too innocent, which makes her insanely adorable, but also too innocent because her constant disregard for the world around her is enough to make even the usually emotionless golem feel anxiety. Being a human in a world where they're essentially seen as worse than demons and knowing the danger of those circumstances makes me wish she would be more cautious. Not too cautious though, because then the balance would be thrown off. She needs to maintain her high innocence stat if she's not to be outdone as my favorite Dotaru, but man, if the golem feels anxious enough to always be micromanaging her, you can imagine how it affects me. The idea of the whole show taking a dark turn, or at least within the scope of an episode where it can be shortly resolved, is always in the back of my mind. Thankfully though, it's obvious that it can't get dark. The show is too blatantly focused on being cutesy and wholesome for something like that to happen, so we can just sit back, relax, and enjoy her playful attitude without any worry. Back to being serious, the OST does a superb job at properly eliciting the right mood at the right time and blends with those moods. When Somali is being sweetly diligent, the music caters to that. When the ambience is in disarray or her secret is in jeopardy of being discovered, it's back to reality quiet. The tunes are veritably happy overall and suitably matches the tone of the anime. But when the moment is more melancholic, the score doesn't shy away from letting us know that. Sometimes the messed up truth of the scenario is presented in a more honest light to remind us of how sad the whole thing can really be. And I love the character designs. Pretty much all of the characters look like they got enough attention, including the ones that are only there for an episode or even just one scene. Somali's design is appropriately ambiguous while still being cute enough to make me want to punch things. Golem Dad's is great and is basically a dumbed down version of the golem from Children Who Chase Lost Voices. That's a cool Makoto Shinkai movie, by the way, just in case you haven't seen it. Not to say that his design is too basic, I love it and it suits him. Watching him interact with other characters is a fun time to be had. He views everything objectively since he doesn't have emotions, or so we're led to believe anyway, and thus is succinct and analytical in his speech. Oh, and props to the scriptwriter. They are able to convey our golem's stoic mannerisms while still keeping an air of lightheartedness and sometimes comedy around his exchanges with other characters. He's seemingly a very different type at first, and he generally does act that way as the story continues on, except when it comes to Somali. Anytime she's concerned, he acts like a real father would, and it's just so dang touching. Together, Somali and the Forest Spirit are a pair that differ strikingly, and yet they still work sincerely well together. Kind of like Goku and Vegeta, Carol and Tuesday, or Hot Sauce and Sardines.
What?
Maybe that last example is just me. Feel free to roast me for that, but I already see enough disapproval for my admittedly questionable food choices from my Twitch chat over at twitch.tv/iwearclothes. Dang, I really need to stop doing that for at least one video, don't I? The stunning world around them is a constant illusion to us watching that the natural beauty is only as gorgeous as it is because humans aren't there to ruin it. The other side of the coin seems to always be hiding in plain sight. The sprawling, rich diversity of nature serves as the yin in a world that is sorely lacking in yang. But if you ask me, I wouldn't change a thing. Gotta keep her safe and sound after all. Environmentalism is a theme that has definitely been explored thoroughly in anime, namely with the multiple efforts from Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, and that's why I appreciate Somali's subtle approach to that same subject. You could even argue that the voice of dissent protesting the loss of green spaces, open air, and diverse wildlife goes all the way back to the father of manga himself with Tezuka Osamu's Kimba and the White Lion, which The Lion King famously ripped off, fun fact. That's a fun read if you ever want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, subtle approach to environmentalism, I believe that's where we were before I started getting off topic. Where something like Princess Mononoke's depiction of human carelessness or Nausicaa's are bold and in your face, Somali sends the same message gently, almost listlessly. Listlessly? How do I say that? Words are hard sometimes. I think that the phenomenal color design is in large part to thank for that. It really helps to make the extremely nuanced fauna impactful in nearly every frame where we can see it. So many cool looking plants. Even between episodes, you can see how the forests change significantly, and yet it still all feels like it's part of the same world. And this attention to detail is pretty much everywhere, not just in the natural scenery. So while this anime is super colorful, it doesn't contrast poorly with the rest of the world around it. It still feels cohesive and natural enough to make the world consistent and believable. It is really nice to see a world completely unhindered by the burden of human greed. I mean, maybe reducing humanity to nigh extinction still wasn't the right call, but the setting wouldn't be as fun as it is without that absence. The most prominent theme of the show being life and its purpose seems like it will be handled in a more direct way than is par for the course in anime. We're used to this theme being vague and undefined, which is getting old to be honest. The fact that our forest spirit lives to the age of exactly 1000 before ceasing functionality makes this have even more of an impact because it shows that even someone who lives that long can re-examine the meaning of life. So from the moment when Somali sees the spirit and calls him Otosan, it's the first time his purpose of being only but a humble, watchful forest guardian had ever been challenged or called into question. I'm happy to see a more confident approach to that for once. And speaking of his newfound fatherhood, that's a wonderful theme to watch develop too, definitely the most wholesome theme. It's what makes this anime so beautiful more so than any other facet in my opinion. And did I mention how comfy this is? Probably the supreme king of comf for this season. It's certainly my choice to sit down and sip some hot chocolate with. Now, I don't think this show is absolutely perfect. It neglects the show don't tell rule when it comes to some of the more important exposition. I think it manages to neglect it tastefully at least, so points for that, I guess. It surely becomes difficult to get things completely wrong when you're sporting some of the best art of the entire season. And what a season. I haven't even finished sampling everything from Winter 2020 yet, and my currently watching list is already more stacked than it's ever been. There's really just too much goodness out there right now. But that's the only thing that I could really find to criticize about Somali. Maybe the weird CGI ED when instead they could have gone with something more, good looking? But even there, Ultimate Dotaru is totally adorable. She also happens to sing the ED, which is always a fun touch. So if you like slice of life, amazing visuals, stellar voice acting, wholesome concepts, and relaxation at its best, you'll probably like Somali and the Forest Spirit. Major emphasis on the slice of life and comfiness factors. It's not as intentionally comfy as something like, say, Yuru Camp, but it's giving me similar vibes to the greatest of all time in that category for me, Aria the Animation. Studio Satellite has commendably done justice to an already great-looking manga here. This is the coolest fantasy world I've seen in a while from anime, and would make a truly worthy nomination for Best Fantasy at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards next year. And that should probably be the end of the video. I could keep rambling because I'm having fun, damn it, but I don't want to give too much away since the show is only a couple of episodes in at the time of this recording. So with that, I bid you farewell so that you can hopefully go enjoy this satisfying, beautiful gem of an anime. If you liked the video, please hit like, because when you do that, His Excellency, the YouTube algorithm, tends to be nice to me. Sub and hit the bell too, because I'm supposed to say that. Do it to protect the Dotaru. And if you're so inclined, you can check out some of my other videos where I talk about Dr. Stone, Kara no Kyokai, or the Fate series. Twitch, Twitter, the Discord server where we talk about anime. Links for all these in the description. Thanks for watching the video, sayonara, and I'll see you again.